Otherwise, we're jumping into game number 1. The vetoes are done. The maps are set, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Post Youth, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran representing Cloud9. It is GuMiho. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Talon Esports. It is Dark. And if you're in the chat, predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. As a reminder, this is a best of 5, and GuMiho is opening up with a proxy. Because of course he is. Let's go. Again, I expect more quirky builds out of GuMiho. Like GuMiho, he's so hard to read and so hard to predict, which is why I love casting players like GuMiho. Like I think of GuMiho, I think of Dark, I think of Shin, these more unorthodox players, and yeah, kicking things off with that proxy. Now, what's interesting here, only one SCV. Only one SCV moves out across the map, so it's not going to be a committed proxy, and the Overlord was actually going to scout. Oh my god, Dark, calm down. The Overlord is poised to scout on the right-hand side. That is the second Overlord moving out, and Dark will confirm. Now, I imagine this is only going to be proxy Reaper. Just proxy Reaper to get into the main base to harass. If it's anything more than that, Dark will confirm as the drone has arrived and will pick away at the building SCV. Yeah, just being annoying. Won't really achieve too much. I think Dark, he sent out the drone just in case there was a second and third racks. Like, he wasn't fully aware how many racks there were. In the end, the drone doesn't really achieve too much. So a little bit of inefficient mining there out of Dark. But outside of that is settling in. And we'll see how much damage GuMiho can get done. Oh. Hello. The SCV comes back. Factory. Are we going proxy 1-1-1? No shot. I mean, it's not a one base all in. There is a CC back at home, but clearly GuMiho has something else in store. It could even just be factory at home and then proxy starport instead for like a Hellion drop. Or proxy liberator. Meanwhile, Reaper gets in. Oh, doesn't quite get a drone. But is keeping Dark busy. Forcing out a Spore, forcing out a Gas Geyser as well. Some nice inadvertent damage. Reaper comes back in. Up! Oh my god. Forcing another Gas Geyser. And will be forced out. But a second Reaper has arrived, but with the arrival of the Queens, Darky should be fine, should be able to defend, should be able to deflect all these Reapers, and Dark can now resume mining. Now the factory is indeed back at home. Once the factory finishes, I imagine proxy starport. That would make the most sense in my mind. We'll see. If it is a proxy starport, it could be for a Hellion drop, where you can make Hellions and then just drop into the main, or it could be Hellion harass on the left-hand side, with like a Liberator to harass the main base. There is potential. As the Rax floats in, factory is done, Cyclone is on the way, and the starport is proxied. Now, because it is Cyclone, not Hellion, now I don't think it's going to be a medevac. I feel like it should be Liberator, right? We'll see. But it should be Lib at this point, because a Cyclone drop makes a little bit less sense. But it's GuMiho, so double starport? Oh wait, no. Okay, I lost my mind for a moment. I saw him throw down a building, and in my brain, I looked at the production tab, I was like, second starport? No. One starport, third TC back at home. I need to calm down, but going for the proxy tech lab into BC. Okay. So, my mind went like 2-port BC when I saw the second starport, but it was only one. Regardless, proxy BC out of GuMiho. What an animal. Into mech, of course, as there's no racks, right? The racks is floating across the map. There's no racks follow-up, so it should be BC into mech. And we'll see if Dark can keep up with this. For now, double expanding. Double expanding, getting a third, getting a fourth. Remember, the third base is delayed because of the initial proxy Reaper. Ooh, but actually, we do have a backup racks on the way. That could just be because this one's burning down, though. It could just be backup racks to throw down more factories. Curious. Meanwhile, Lings are scouting. Dark, he's checking. He knows. He knows something's wrong, and he will scout the starport. And it takes a while to build the BC. Can he deny the BC? No shot. That's brutal. That is going to be brutal here. If he can deny the BC, you can see GuMiho who wants to save it. Hellions are on the way. But there's so many more Lings in position. Dark, he's ready for the Hellions. Not quite a position to intercept, almost. Hellions do dip in. But Darky's ready for the surround. He will look down the Hellions. We'll try to at least. One Hellion will fall, the other almost surrounded, not quite. But is buying time, is saving the starport. The BC is still in production, for those who do not know. Even if the tech lab goes down, the BC will still produce. And it looks like it's going to be close. It's going to be so close. Up. Can we get there? Nah, it's going to be denied. Whew, just in time. That's a kill on the starport. GG gets called, and Dark will take game number 1. What a game 1. GG, well played. Again, GuMiho, he committed so much to that BC, to saving the BC, to trying to produce it as well. Alas, it was denied, and GuMiho had nothing else back at home. He had 1 Cyclone, he had 2 more factories on the way, so it was mech. But if you remember, he had to wait for the racks to be rebuilt because the initial racks was burning down. And there was just nothing left. There was nothing else going for GuMiho. Oh my god, and that was only game 1, and I expect more chaos here in the coming games. Game 2 is going to be on Alkyone. Let's go. Let us go. This is disgusting play by GuMiho. GuMiho is an animal, but what we love about GuMiho, he knows what he is, right? He embraces it. There's no shame. There's no shame, Bobby, no shame. Like, GuMiho, you're an animal. He's like, I am. It's beautiful. Let's go. Now we're getting into game number 2. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkyone, we have our South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran representing Cloud9, down in the series, but it's a best of 5. It's all good. It's a best of 5. Plenty more games ahead of us. It is GuMiho. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the red Zerg player from South Korea representing Talent Esports. It is Dark. As that miscalled game got my heart rate up. Mine too. I do apologize. Speaking of, GuMiho once again proxy. Once again proxy racks here out of GuMiho, and once again only 1 SCV. Bear that in mind, only 1 SCV, so this is not a committed proxy here out of GuMiho, at least initially. Technically, this could turn into like an add-on into like Proxy Marauder, but it should just be Proxy Reaper. Should be Reaper. Meanwhile, you can see Dark, he's scouting towards the left-hand side. He will eventually come across this, that is true, but it's going to be a later scout than previously. The equivalent would be if GuMiho had proxied here at the 3rd base location, then Dark would have had a faster scout like the previous game. This time it's going to be a little bit later. But it doesn't really matter too much just because it's not committed, right? As behind this, it is going to be Hatch Gas Pool out of Dark. Standard opener. Reaper is on the way. Now, this is where I feel like this could be a very similar build as well. We'll keep an eye on the SCV. Remember last game, the SCV moved out once again for a second time to go for a proxy starport. This time it looks like that is not the case, as the SCV comes back home. But once again, the downside of this kind of build and this kind of setup is that because we're macroing behind this, and you can see the CC on location, that means that things like add-ons and bioproduction is going to be delayed. I'm leaning once again towards mech from GuMiho, but we'll see how it all comes together. As Reaper has arrived, forces out a gas geyser, queens are on the way, extra lings as well. Already this is doing a lot of damage. Forcing out 10 lings from Dark. 10 lings on the way. Forcing out a spore crawler. Ooh. Second gas geyser as well. Dark will zone away this Reaper for the time being. No major damage, but damage nonetheless. As Dark resumes mining, his 3rd hatchery is going to be delayed, and Dark, I love this, he's going for a Bane Bust. So this is a Shin response whenever Shin is up against 2-Rax Reaper, and this could hit a little bit harder. I'm curious. So there's a bit of a give and take here. 3rd CC's on the way. Is GuMiho going to open up Cyclone? If he goes Hellion, I think GuMiho can defend. With Cyclone, I'm a little bit less confident. He's going for the reactor first. Bold move, but this could be reactor for reactor to Hellion, which I think is okay. against a Bane buff specifically. We'll see. As Dark is going for the all-in, Reaper's trying to scout. They do dive into the main, but they do not get behind the mineral line. Going for the Queen! Queen under fire. Queen taking a lot of hits. But Dark, he does defend. Link speed kicks in. Dark is holding. See the racks scouting the saturation. Starport's on the way. No units at home to defend. 0 units so far. No bunker either. Lings are moving out. The Reapers, they do not scout. GuMiho has no idea. Doesn't really know what's going on. Now it is going to be Raptured Hellion, but here comes the Ling Bane. And the Banelings are already ready. This is just far too greedy, far too late. There's nothing at home to defend. And the Banelings are going to knock down that wall. And they break on through. Lings, they flood in. And what is it to defend? There's 3 Reapers. Oh, the Baneling. Baneling crashes in. Lings going for the surround. 2 more Banelings on the way. Hellions are going to help out. They do arrive. But this is still quite a lot of damage. And Banelings, they're going for the mineral line. They're waddling in. They waddle. Oh my god. And more Lings, they do rally in. Baneling does not quite connect. Ooh, so far so good. GuMiho, he's holding. Now bear this in mind. This is not enough damage. Dark, he's still up against the wall. Remember, this is 3 CC. Dark, he's setting the game here and now. And he doesn't quite get the surround. A very nice control out of GuMiho. 1 Hellion falls. There's 1 Hellion left. There's another on the way. And the longer this goes on, the better it is for GuMiho. Dark gets a Reaper. Another Baneling waddles in. Doesn't quite connect. And Dark, he's running out of steam. He's running out of steam, running out of Lings. And GuMiho holds. Whew. GuMiho, he barely does hold on. Again, if GuMiho had opened Cyclone, I think he would have died. But Hellions, as you can see, they can trade well against Ling Bane. He barely does hold on. Again, nice control as well. And bearing in mind, GuMiho, he can throw down 3 mules at a time, make 3 SCVs at a time. His starport is done. He's moving out with the Liberator. Back at home, Dark, he's behind an economy. He's got 2 bases. His 3rd base is so very late. I will say that currently GuMiho's in a better position. Things are looking better for the Terran. And Dark may just go for a 2nd all-in. That is a Roach Warren on the way. I would not be opposed to it. I think, given the situation, as Liberator hits the main, and we'll get some drone kills. Oh, gets 1. 1 drone goes down. Nice defense out of Dark. He tanked 2 shots with the Queen. That was actually very crisp out of Dark. Meanwhile, GuMiho embracing mech. But again, in a longer game state, I do think that Dark is going to be behind. So going for like a 2-base Roach all-in would make a lot of sense, given the failed all-in. But we'll see if that's what Dark goes for. As GuMiho is getting into extra Raxes. His own racks, sorry, extra factories that I meant to say. His own rack's about to burn down, so he's making a backup racks back at home once again. Overlord does confirm the factories. Dark is aware. And Dark is making a handful of roaches. Now, is this just for defense? Or is he going for an all-in? Ooh, that's a lot of roaches on the way. Dark, he's cutting workers at 39. That's under 2-base saturation. And he's going all in. Lings are amassing. Ravagers are morphing in. Queens are pushing forward as well. And will this work? I mean, GuMiho is being a little bit greedy because he went for add-ons first and he's going for upgrades. GuMiho's army consists of this, of Hellion Reaper. But 3 Cyclones are on the way. As the game goes any longer, it's going to get better and better for GuMiho. So Dark is on a timer. Dark is on a timer. The longer this goes on, the worse it is. He's rotating towards the left-hand side. I believe a Banshee has arrived. The Banshee's moving out across the map. Actually coming back home. Ravager's morphing in, and GuMiho, he does spot this. He spots the main army. Liberator has arrived. GuMiho has freedom. The Banshee as well can target down the Ravagers. It's a rough position for Dark. He's going to try and break down that wall, but plenty of Hellions are ready for this. Liberator as well. The wall will fall. 1 Ravager goes down, 2nd Ravager as well. And the Hellbats morph in. And GuMiho, he should be able to hold on. He cleans up all the links. He shuts down the Roach Ravager. And we're going to have a back and forth. We should be having a back and forth series here. The links are trickling into the mineral line. They're going for the SCVs. Nice control of GuMiho. He does mineral walk, does save the workers. And GuMiho, he barely loses anything. He holds nicely. Behind this, Dark is droning desperately, but this is a rough position for Dark. The ideal for Dark is if the army moves out, and then Dark can come in with Ling run by. But the Lings that get scattered by the Banshees. GuMiho is aware. He's keeping his ground army pinned back at home, and yeah, GG gets called. It's an uphill battle, and GuMiho ties it up 1-1. We have a back and forth series. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, a very, very close game there. And again, I do think that Dark was hoping that, just like the previous game, GuMiho was going for maybe initial Cyclone, maybe like a proxy starport, hoping that GuMiho would have a little bit less to defend back at home. And even then, after Dark knocked down that wall, there was potential for Dark, but GuMiho had very nice control. He pulled away the SCVs, he targeted down the Banelings, made sure there were no major connections in the mineral line, so a very, very nice defense out of GuMiho. And with that, GG. GG, well played. We're getting into game number 3. Let us go. We're getting into that second game. And the question becomes, is GuMiho going to proxy racks for the 3rd game in a row? We've seen it in game 1. We've seen it in game 2. Do we see it here in game 3? It's possible. It is possible. Let's find out. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the red Terran player representing Cloud9, tying up the series 1-1. It is GuMiho. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the blue Zerg representing Talon Esports. Oh, being forced into a tied-up series, can he bring it back? It is Dark. We go. As this time, GuMiho is not sending out an SCV. It makes sense, this is a smaller map compared to Alkyone, so GuMiho is going for a more standard opener. Rax is back at home. But yeah, it was a really interesting start out of GuMiho, both in game 1 and in game 2. I see in the chats, don't really see this proxy Rax play from other Terrans. I do think a big reason for that is GuMiho's proclivity of playing mech. I do think that if you're playing bio, it puts you behind. We mentioned before that it delays add-ons, it delays bio production, it would delay your stim timing, it would delay everything bio related, right? So because GuMiho is known for mech, it does make more sense. But yeah, it's interesting, definitely, and I can definitely see players like Ryung or Maru maybe trying to play with it a little bit, just because they are known to embrace mech from time to time, as Dark is scatting. Dark, he's looking for the proxy. I don't blame him, there is none. But after the first 2 games, it makes sense. So the mind game's coming into play. GuMiho forcing a drone scout out of Dark. Not too bad. And we're settling in. Good morning, Warface. Good morning. As we are going to be settling in. And I'm sure Dark is going to be a little more comfortable in this kind of game state. Just droning up, getting his 3rd base on time. Reaper has arrived. And GuMiho shouldn't be able to get too much done here. Oh, does get 1 drone. Not bad. Yeah, very nice body blocking out of GuMiho. Almost gets a 2nd. But already a very nice start from the Terran. Getting 1 drone. Getting 1 more than he really should. He does rotate out. Behind this, factory is on the way. Now, even though we saw mech 2 games in a row so far to GuMiho, I do expect GuMiho to play bio at some point in this series. He can. He definitely can. He can play bio very well. And we'll see if that's what he embraces here on Oceanborn or later in the series, as GuMiho is going proxy starport once again. God damn it. Now, this time we have Hellions on the way, so this could be for a Hellion drop. Last time this was for a proxy fusion core, proxy BC with a fusion core back at home. I'm not really feeling that this time, just because again, Hellions can coincide with this a little bit better, with some more aggression, whether it's medevac or with the Liberator. But we'll see. Yeah, Liberator's on the way. So it's going to be a Hellion Liberator harass out of GuMiho. Meanwhile, Dark opening up Roach makes a lot of sense. It is what he's fond of, Roach play against Bio or Mech. Oh, actually, it's going to be Proxy Liberator into Proxy BC. It's both. Okay, sure, why not? This is where GuMiho comes out of left field and he starts Liberator range instead. He goes Advanced Ballistics, which would be crazy. So I don't think GuMiho is that insane. I feel like it should be BC. As GuMiho, oh, he wants that tumor. He wants it. Doesn't quite get it. So far, Dark is keeping up. Liberator is diving in. There's the add-on for the BC. So Lib into BC for GuMiho. Liberator does siege up in the main. Queens are trying to keep up. Hellion's looking for an opening. And remember, there is no link speed for Dark. But GuMiho doesn't get into a mineral line. Not with the Hellions, at least. Meanwhile, gets 3 drones. Not bad. Dark will zone away that Liberator. But he has not seen what comes next. Likewise, GuMiho catching out a Roach. Getting to Cyclones behind this. Liberator is forced back. And how many Queens does Dark have? Only 5. Not that many, actually. Only 5 Queens for Dark. He's setting up his Spore Crawlers to defend against the Liberators, at least. Roaches are moving out. But there are Cyclones to defend. And GuMiho is all over this. He shuts down the Roaches. Roaches get cleaned up. And I worry that there isn't enough anti-air for the BC. I'm going to be very impressed if Dark can minimize losses here. And keep up. Oh, he scouts! Yeah, he does scout. He does confirm. Now he knows. And Queen production has begun. Alas, this time the BC will pop in. At the same time, here come the Hellions. Uh oh. The ground army a little bit out of position. There's 3 Roaches here on the right-hand side. BC has arrived. And what do we go for? Just going for the base. Okay, GuMiho trying to force a cancel on the 4th. Main army moving out. Dark, he has a little bit more time to gather up his army, to gather his forces. So far, so good. Darky's keeping up. The BC looks like it will force a cancel. Up! Oh no! That's a kill! That's a kill on a cancel. Massive pickup. Not bad here out of GuMiho. At the same time, Liberator hits the natural. Queens are out of position. Drones are going down. Gonna be 3 drone kills. BC teleports in as well, going for the final Queen. And we'll get it. BC will float away. Not bad. But at least Dark defended against the ground army. Now going for a counterattack. We do see GuMiho, he backed off with the starport, going for another BC. Keeps it proxied, because why not? But what about the Roaches? There's no Liberator, there's no Cyclones. With only Hellions, SCVs are going to go down. Yeah, nice counterattack here out of Dark. Takes down most of the Hellions, takes down an okay amount of SCVs. Yeah, finally more of them are going down. Yeah, BC forced to respond. It's going to be 9 SCV kills. Dark taking a worker lead. And honestly, this was very necessary after Dark lost his 4th. Remember, that was a kill. That was 300 minerals down the drain. A big delay on the economy and the production of Dark. On top of that, Dark has not responded with a Spire. He's going Hydra. He's going Roach Hydra instead. Interesting. Roach Hydra is not something you see too often against mech. I'm worried if GuMiho goes for a tank line, if he goes very tank heavy, then the ground army of Dark could struggle, but for now we'll see. As a second BC is waddling in. I'm sure Dark didn't really expect additional BC production. 3rd BC is on the way. Once again, going for the 4th. Dark's queen count, he's up to 9. Okay, solid queen count. Should be able to keep up with this. And Dark has a large enough ground army to be safe against the Hellions. Yamato goes off, gets 1 queen. Down to 8. And once again, Dark, he counterattacks with the Roaches, going for the 3rd TC. Going for the mineral line. Meanwhile, BC in the main, focusing down the Spore. The Spore is buying time. Do we get the Transfuse? Up! Oh, we barely do. Transfuse goes up. Barely keeps it alive. Very nice defense here on the Dark. Dark doesn't lose a single drone. And you could definitely argue that GuMiho, he miscontrolled there. Finally, some workers are going down, but he could have tried to target down drones instead. Could have gone, what, 4 or 5 drone kills. Decided not to. So far, Dark is holding his own. Behind this, GuMiho now focusing on tank production. He's aware of the Hydras, of course. As another BC has arrived, trading with the Hydras. Taking down 2 of them. Up! Getting 3. As the BCs are being so annoying. Because of the Hydra defense, I mean, the BCs, they can be safe in this dead space. Getting another Yamato. Cleaning up the Hydras. Get very efficient trades here for GuMiho. So many Hydras. How many so far? It's 8. 8 Hydras have gone down. Across the map, Roach, they counterattack once again, but this time there are plenty of tanks. And this time GuMiho defends. Now GuMiho has a solid tank line. Dark going to be responding with Viper, so it's going to be Roach, Hydra, Viper. I mean, there is dive potential, and what I will say that Dark can take advantage of is because of the starport position, because of all the BCs, there's no Vikings. There are no Vikings here for GuMiho, so there's kind of less contention against the Vipers. I guess Yamato is definitely a factor. So we'll see if GuMiho can, if he can Yamato the Vipers first, or if they can get their blinding clouds. We shall see. Still no Spire out of Dark. How many Vipers? 2. Soon to be 3. So 3 Vipers against 4 BCs. Oh, wait, only 3. Okay. Against 3. Backup starport on the way. GuMiho setting up his wall of turrets. Okay, he's doing what he does best. He's turtling up. We have our tank lines, our turret lines as well. Dark rotating over towards the left-hand side. He's finding a way in. GuMiho not quite in position. And GuMiho, he's set up to defend the left-hand side, the right-hand side, not the left. Coming in, going for the BCs, gets 1. 1 BC goes down, Lings are trickling on the right-hand side, taking down more tanks. Massive pickles here from Dark. Taking down so many tanks. Almost all of them, actually. There's 2 tanks left. Down to 1. He wants the BC. Doesn't quite get it. GuMiho does defend. Now, that was a bit of a trade, and GuMiho did lose a lot of tanks. That is true. You can see here, that was, what, 8 tanks going down. But that was also a very expensive army from the Zerg player. That was a lot of Hydras. That was 28 Hydras falling for 8 tanks. GuMiho held. GuMiho's on a 4-base economy, and GuMiho, he can replace those tanks. Meanwhile, Dark, he responds with Swarm Host. Okay. I see you. Again, against a tank-heavy composition, Swarm Host can actually do quite well. I know they're kind of underrepresented in SE2, like you rarely see Swarm Host against Mech or against Terran. That's something because Mech is so rare. Ooh, as a lot of Hydras get caught out. Once again, expensive losses for Dark. It's a lot of dead Hydras. And Hellbat's pushing forward. GuMiho forcing out more Roaches. But here come those Swarm Hosts. Against Battle Mech, Swarm Hosts can struggle, but again, this is just really tank heavy. This is where Swarm Hosts can thrive. They're going for the natural. Getting nothing major so far, going for the starports or even the depots. That's going to be cleaned up. 3 depots go down. Nothing major. Some nice value nonetheless. Meanwhile, Dark trying to catch out those BCs. Can he get one? Not quite. BC does teleport away. And Dark, you could argue, sticks around a little bit too long. He's going to lose his army. Leaves out the Rich Hydra. How many tanks? 11. Getting into Cyclone production, we spoke earlier about Swarm Hosts, how they can sometimes struggle against a more mobile army like Battle Mech. So GuMiho getting into Mass Cyclone. And with that, his hopes would be to gain map control and to hunt down these Nidus Worms. See if he can. The Locust Wave towards the natural. And this time the Hellion Cyclone is able to keep up. And we'll shut down the Locust Wave. Not before 10 SCVs go down. It's 12 SCVs even. 13. 14. Not bad. Darky gets the mineral line, pushing on the right-hand side. Getting a tank. Just the one. And you can see Dark transitioning once again. We have Infestors on the way, Spire, Lurker Den as well. I'm sure Dark is thinking of Broodlords and a Greater Spire eventually. Gets another tank. Again, Dark is just trying to slow down the army. And because we're so heavily Cyclone Hellion based, that's where Fungals and Infestors can come into play. That's where Infestors can be more impactful with those fungal growths. So what I love here, mainly from Dark, is just how malleable his army composition is. Like, he started with Roach, Hydra, into Swarm Host, into more Spellcasters. Does focus on as many tanks as he can. I think that was, what, 3 tanks? Taking away the backbone of this army. Greater Spires on the way. Lurker upgrades as well. And here come the Fungals. Fungals do connect, but the tanks, oh, they have to be respected. That's a lot of tanks. GuMiho, he's forced back. Establishing another expansion. Ooh. That's a lot of mules. That's an economy. You can see Dark getting ready for a counterattack, and there's not actually much at home to defend. Yeah, the planetary is exposed. And the Swarm Host, they should be able to snipe it. Yeah, DPS is just too high. And the planetary does fall. GuMiho pushing through the center. Where are the Fungals? And they're coming in. Oh, not quite. Dark backs up. Doesn't commit. Taking it slow. He retreats for now. So does GuMiho. Again, GuMiho has to be so careful about pushing onto creep. Pushing forward, going for the Blinding Clouds. Oh, we'll bleed out 2 of those Vipers. Well, we'll gain ground. Losing every single Viper, though. This I'm not so sure about. Sarky will trade against GuMiho's army. Behind this, BC's going for their own base. GuMiho breaking out. Dark is remaxing. I think GuMiho doesn't care. He does push. Gets another expansion, takes out all the queens. BCs are popping up. And Darky remaxes with purely Hydra. Oh my god, that's a lot of Hydras. Hydras are amassing. Swarmo's going for another expansion. Oh, they're on A move. Not ideal. Yeah, they just force a lift. GuMiho expanding and taking another base. Another CC. There's a lot of SCV kills, though. 20 even. But the question becomes, can this position be broken? Does it matter? At this point, because of how heavily fortified this position is with turrets and with tanks, Dark, he might just go for a counterattack and try to go into the main. He could just focus on the right-hand side instead. Yes, yeah, exactly. Speaking of, Dark, he just goes right down mid. He just ignores the tank line. Why bother? Going for the third, catching 3 orbitals. Very nice pickups. And GuMiho is being spread thin. Yes, almost they collapse on the tanks. The Locust Wave pops up. The VC barely does teleport away. Dark is getting ready for that Sky Tool, so that Sky Zerg even. Second Spire upgrades. Throughout all of this, GuMiho has been going back into BC production, so his BC count is actually getting quite high. Checking the count here up to 5, soon to be 6. 6 BCs. So Dark, he will need those Corruptors. So he rotates back around. I mean, GuMiho's economy is still looking quite strong. I say that, oh, the worker count. The saturation even, not what it needs to be. Getting another tank. Oh, getting 2. 2 more tanks go down. Again, I love the idea that Darky just keeps hitting this center area here in between the natural and the third. Another Night Destroyer, more Swarm Hosts. I am concerned about the BCs, but Dark is getting ready for that. Just getting those Corruptors ready. Another Locust Wave. Tanks looking vulnerable. If these tanks go down, that's going to be the green light for the Hydra-based army. And he's going in. The tanks will fall. And GG gets called. Dark, he breaks on through, gets the Neural as well, and Dark will take a 2-1 lead. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Just a really awkward expansion pattern as well from GuMiho, expanding towards the left-hand side, being spread very thin as well. So many of those bases were out in the open, the low ground base, the forward base as well. So yeah, just a really awkward time trying to defend that location, and Dark did abuse that. You know, we saw how heavily fortified GuMiho was at that fresh mining base, but it's like, you know, just ignore it. Just ignore it. Just avoid it. Attack elsewhere instead. GG. And again, Dark with a very kind of chaotic style as well when it comes to his army composition. Getting into Swarm Hosts, getting into Vipers, Infestors, working towards eventually Corruptors if he needed it. Just non-stop counterattacks out of Dark. For a moment, I thought he was overextending. I thought he was bleeding out too many Roaches and Hydras in counterattacking, but on the flip side of things, Dark was also left at home. Because Dark was so active, because he was so aggressive, his economy was untouched. For the most part, there was that one moment towards the end where the BCs did snipe a base, that is true, but outside of that, there was no Hellion harass, there was no Hellion run-by, Cyclone counterattacks either. Just because of how aggressive Dark was, GuMiho was stuck at home, for the most part. Could never really move out. It wasn't just the aggression of Dark, but also the creep spread as well. Despite how much creep GuMiho was clearing up, Dark was always there to replace it. And with that, we're getting into game number 4. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of side Delta, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran representing Cloud9. Down in the series, can he bounce back and force the ace match? Can we go all the way to game 5? It is GuMiho. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Zerg player from South Korea representing Talent Esports, leading the series. One more game is all he needs to become our champion this week. Can he avoid the ace match? It is Dark. Here we go. Here we go. As GuMiho once again, not proxy. Thank God. Is going for a Rax back at home. I mean, I say that, I shouldn't. I'm speaking too soon, really. Last game, GuMiho did go proxy Starport into proxy BC, if you recall. It was very chaotic. Proxy Lib into BC. Is this going to be the one game where GuMiho doesn't proxy? Because we've seen some kind of proxy in every game so far. We'll see. Likewise, Dark going Hatch Gas Pool. Settling in, fanning out his Overlords. If you recall, last game, Dark did go for a Drone Scout. This time, just relying on the Overlord Scout for now. Makes sense. I mean, Side Delta is a bit of a larger map compared to Oceanborn. Dark feeling a little bit safer. Doesn't take the risk of going for a Drone Scout. Does feel safe enough not to do so. Droning up. Saturating is natural. And we have yet to see Bio out of GuMiho. And I mentioned before that GuMiho, he can play Bio very nicely, very well actually. We've seen GuMiho defeat Dark with Bio. 8 Raxing, or even just his own 4 Rax variations. But we'll see. As for now, drones are being forced back. Ooh, gets one drone kill. Nice damage here out of GuMiho. Very nice pickup. Alas, Dark, he did not have enough to actually morph in a Spore. And behind this, GuMiho is going 3cc. Third CC before Starport. Economic opener out of GuMiho. This time, no tricks. No proxies. Nothing wild, nothing crazy. Just economic. Let's go. Going for the add-on stop, getting to Hellion production. Starport's on the way. And this is the most standard build we've seen so far to GuMiho. Like this, it's crazy. he's playing normally. He's playing like everyone else. It's crazy. Interestingly enough, we do have a Marine first to deny scouting. I believe this will delay the tech lab. So this might not be a Banshee-based opener. As usually, you would have the tech lab, so it'd finish up in time for an add-on swap. Yes, second Marine is on the way. This could even be BC. Curious. Yeah, Viking opener can lead into a fusion core. Or it could just be Viking into Liberator instead. I mean, based on the series, I like the idea of the Viking opener because it does kind of put this seed of doubt in Dark's mind. Like, what's going on? Like, you played with BC so much. It might force him to just play safe. We'll see. So Viking has arrived, or was soon to arrive. To deny vision, deny scouting. The Marines were denying scouting earlier as well, so Dark has no idea what his opponent's up to. I mean, I say no idea. He's aware of the 1-1-1 at least, but it could be BC for all Dark knows. GuMiho going for a medevac? This should be a Hellbat push, right? No armory yet, but he is amassing Hellions, Marines, Lings. They do scout the initial bio production. GuMiho is pushing. Hellions have amassed. No armory, so it's just going to be Marine Hellion. No Hellbats. Again, a very unorthodox push here from GuMiho. But can catch Dark off guard. The Queens they're pulling together. Hellions, they dive in. They're going for the Queens. There is one transfuse, but one Queen is going to go down. Boys are being pulled away. They line up. Up. 4 drones go down. Yeah, but just the 4. Dark, he should be fine. He's going to zone this back. Hellions, they get the hell out of there. And Dark defends. Meanwhile, GuMiho going for delayed Banshee into bio for the first time. For the first time this series, it's not going to be mech. It's going to be bio instead. He's doing it, man. He's crazy. So he's getting into his 5-rack setup. Now, the downside to this build as well from GuMiho for going for this heavy of a Hellion count and going for the initial medevac as well, is a lot of this is going to be delayed here. GuMiho now going into his double eBay. His third base is on time, don't get me wrong. That's a lot of Raxes. It's going to be 6 additional Raxes on the way. I'm waiting for the 7th. I'm waiting for the 8th, really. As that's going to be a 7-rack setup. And this may just be a 3-base all-in. Again, we'll see if GuMiho takes his gases, and we'll see if he throws in a 4th CC. Will be the tell here for GuMiho. Is throwing down a 4th actually in the main. Okay. Yeah, you have my attention. 4 CCs on the way. GuMiho is macroing up. Likewise, Dark going 1-1, going for Banelings, rushing into an infestation bit. This looks like Dark is going into Ultras. We have seen Dark rush into Hive and rush into from Lingbane into Ultra Tech in the past. Curious if that's going to be the case here. Dark fans out. He's trying to scout. He does get eyes on the Marines. He gets eyes on both eBays. He confirms the buy. And Dark, I believe, yeah, he cancels the Roach Warren. So Lingbane is the tech of choice. Soon into a Hive. Banelings, they will in. They delay mining. Dark getting his 4th base up and running. Getting up to 75 drones, soon to be 80. There's that hive on the way. And if we don't see a Hydrogen, if we don't see a Spire, then again, this should be Link Bane into Ultra. Which used to be Dark's go-to on some of these larger maps. I'm speaking of like Ancient Cistern back in the day. A couple of years ago. Side Delta is also very wide open as well. Prone to surrounds. And the creep is looking nice. GuMiho going for his first committed push though. This time with Hellbats. As he expands and gets his 4th base. But Dark should be ready for this. He's got Banelings ready. More of them morphing in. Taking it slow. Widow Mines are setting up. Dark does scout. Is aware. He's going to be amassing more Link Bane. And again, he can try to collapse this army from behind. GuMiho knows that. Again, also backs off. Doesn't overextend. More reinforcements on the way. It's a very tense game state here between GuMiho and Dark. So far, Dark is holding his own. Hive is done. There's that Ultra Cavern that we spoke of. Again, Link Bane into Ultras. And Dark instead he just goes for a counterattack. But there are reinforcements. And GuMiho, he will deflect. Does have more than enough. Dark, he was hoping that the main army was being reinforced instead. We'll force Dark to split up. With this, both armies max out. 2-2 is on the way. Dark just waiting for his opponent to overextend. Now he just collapses in. Widow Mines are lackluster. Dark cleans up the initial force on the left-hand side. And he does go for the right. He goes for the run by. Lings, they catch reinforcements. Widow Mines have potential. Force a bit of friendly fire. Orders are going down. And the main army does turn around. It races back home. SCVs are falling as well. And Dark, he's getting a lot of damage here. And no counter damage from GuMiho. Drop is denied. GuMiho races back. Creep is respreading. Another Link Bane run by being set up here by Dark. And Dark should soon be reinforcing with those Ultras. Oh god! As GuMiho is not looking. Oh, the Burrowed Banes! Burrowed Banes behind the army. Dark going for another run by. GuMiho's out of position and he's just being pulled apart at this point. GuMiho just cannot keep up. Planetary is going to go down. Doesn't waste too many Banelings. Speaking of, Burrowed Lings going straight for the natural. Up! GuMiho does keep up though. Things they do on Burrow into more middle lines. More SCVs going down. And GuMiho's economy is being crippled. Not just that, but he's just stuck at home. That's the big killer here for GuMiho. His army is designed to be active, designed to be out on the map, knocking down bases, getting into mineral lines, trading with the Link Bane, but he's stuck at home instead. And Dark, he's just freely taking into Ultra. Kindness plating is almost done. 3-3s on the way. And the Ultras are here. And now GuMiho, he can't engage, not without Ghost. Like, without Ghost, this army, it's so fragile. And checking the production here, there is no Ghost Academy. I mean, he doesn't know. The problem here is he doesn't know about the Ultras. GuMiho isn't aware. He's not set up for this. Now he's moving out. At the same time, Dark going for another counterattack. Does have an army to defend back at home. Yeah, but here come the Ultras. They're going for the backup planetary. And they're going to get it. At the same time, Lings, they unburrow here in the natural. Planetary goes down. GuMiho does get an expansion. He does knock down a hatchery at least. And Dark, he's just patient. He's just playing patient. Chilling back at home. Massing up more Link Bane. Doesn't engage when he doesn't need to. finds the mineral line. And he's just picking GuMiho apart. GuMiho's response, especially because there's no Ghost Academy, is going mass lib, which can work. I mean, Dark has no anti-air, right? He has no Corruptors, he has no Hydras, his anti-air is Queen. So mass lib could be a way for GuMiho to stabilize and to buy time for Ghost production. Oh, the Widow Mines. Oof. Massive mine shots. Big connections. Army supplies are still very comparable. GuMiho does get another expansion up and running. The mine shots once again. Oh my god. They connect. And Dark, I believe, yeah, he has no other tech yet. So again, the libs, they could do well. As GuMiho is remaxing. I mean, he has remaxed. GuMiho has a larger army as well because of the lower SCV counts. GuMiho can still take a fight. Does drop in, denies an expansion. And this is where I'm now concerned for Dark, because again, the hope here for Dark was to force an all-in, to force GuMiho to push onto creep, but that hasn't happened. And without GuMiho taking a bad fight, GuMiho, he can outscale Dark. Three done for everyone involved, for both players. GuMiho setting up with Widow Mines. Gaining ground, pushing towards the expansion once again. At the same time, Dark going for a Ling run by. Liberator can't really do much against all these Lings. SCVs are going down once again. At the same time, GuMiho getting another expansion. Knocking down another hatchery. GuMiho's down to 29 SCVs, by the way. He's down to one base economy. No bank. But a massive army. Oh, but you can see Darky's got those infestors. He's getting ready with the fungal growths. Again, one bad fight is all that Dark is hoping for, or is getting ready for even. One bad fight for GuMiho, I mean. Hoping to lure the Terran in. Drops are moving out. GuMiho not quite in position. GuMiho, he can't afford to lose his base. It's the last mining base. Yeah, the Ultras, they crash in. GuMiho going for a massive counterattack instead. Bailings, they will crash in. Oh, some of them at least. Knocking down the planetary. GuMiho going for the counterattack. Not really many Bailings to defend, but he has the Ultras. Vipers coming into play finally. Some anti-air. Dark has power bombs. Speaking of power bombs, they do pop off. Medivac taking a lot of damage. Oh my god. They take a lot of hits. GuMiho being very tenacious, getting another expansion. Bungles, they're coming in. GG gets called, and GuMiho, he has no economy, he has no sustain, he cannot keep up. And Dark will take the series 3-1, becoming this week's Korean StarCraft League champion. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Congratulations to Dark, as he will be our champion this week. A very interesting style out of GuMiho, this time embracing bio instead of mech, but as we saw, GuMiho, he just wasn't able to quite get the damage he was hoping for with his move out. If you remember, both armies were kind of like facing off against each other, both armies maxed out. We saw that Dark was trying to go for run-bys, and GuMiho was keeping up for a while, for a time, until Dark finally broke out. He was finally able to hit the top right-hand base, was able to get into mineral lines, and he was able to force GuMiho back. And again, GuMiho eventually got outscaled. Remember, GuMiho, he didn't really have the tech set up to go into Ghost production, so once the Ultras hit the field, GuMiho, he was kind of caught with his pants down. His answer was Liberators, but even then, Liberators, they were harassing or even defending mineral lines more than anything. They weren't really incorporated into the main army. So GuMiho, he just got outscaled over time, and it was just torn apart, pulled left and right. That's one of the hard things about this map, about Site Delta, is it is a very large map, very open as well. This is why Lingbane Ultra can work better on this map than others, because of the lack of choke points and the lack of ramps. As opposed to maps like Alkione or maps like Ghost River as well. These maps where there are so many ramps and choke points and positions where a Terran player or a defending player can have that much more of an advantage, that is stripped away on Site Delta. Stripped away on maps like Site Delta, Golden Aura as well, a little bit. I say a little bit because the main base is still very secure on Golden Aura. But Site Delta is one of the more open maps in the map pool. Does allow for Lingbane Ultra to thrive. And with that, GG. GG, well played. In the end, Dark will take it. Congratulations and my condolences to GuMiho. He did play well for himself. I mean, again, even though this was a 3-1, we had some very entertaining games. A lot of entertaining games here with crazy proxies, with BCs, with mech. There aren't really many other Terran players quite like GuMiho, so I always do appreciate whenever we get to cast GuMiho, because he is a much more of a unique player. It does lead to much more interesting games as a result. Let's go. GG, well played. And with that, congratulations to Dark. If you want to support this tournament, if you want to support the Korean StarCraft League, you can do so via Patreon. !KSL in the chat, and you can have a look at the Patreon page. You can support the tournament. You can gain some benefits as well, like replay packs if you wish. It's all there. It's all laid out on the Patreon to help fund the event. Otherwise, if you wish to just, support the event in other ways, you can do so via following the channel. We do cast this tournament on a bi-weekly basis. As a heads up, this was a weekly at one point, but the support did kind of wane over time, so now it is a bi-weekly. Every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks we have a KSL, so in 2 weeks' time, we'll be back once again. If you are unsatiated, if you want some more StarCraft, if you want some more content, then our next cast on this channel is going to be in a couple of hours. It is going to be the Master Swan Open, the MSO. If you're curious, what is the Master Swan Open and why is it a swan? Oh, don't worry about it. But it is a tournament that we host here on the CranKy Ducklings. Again, all of our tournaments, they all feature their own mascots. Like we have the Tenacious Turtle Tussle, we have the Sparkling Tuna Cup, we have the Grand Platypus Open, Sea Duckling Open, and Master Swan Open as well. It is a tournament for, as the name kind of implies, Masters players. It is for 4.7k and below. So it is for around Masters 3, Masters 2 players. If you happen to be around that MMR range, then you can join in as well. Bearing in mind though that we are quite strict. If you've ever exceeded that MMR 4.7k over the past 3 seasons, then you are ineligible to compete. On top of that, no off racing. We do not allow off racing in our amateur events, just as a heads up. Otherwise you can take part. The event is going to be taking place in 2 hours, I think. Jesus. Yeah, in 2.5 hours. So 2 hours and 30 minutes we're going to be live with MSO. I know that it's not a very good time for players from the Americas, which is why we always praise the players that do show up from the Americas. They're very passionate. It's like at 5 a.m., like depending on where you are in America. Not the best time. But it's, earlier in the morning in Europe and in the evening if you're here in Australia. So if you want to take part, you can do so in the next MSO in 2 hours' time. Otherwise, thank you so much. !MSO in the chat. But yeah, with that, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support. We're going to be heading off for the time being. Again, the stream is going to go back online in 2 hours. I won't be casting it. Bear that in mind as well. I'm going to be adminning. I do usually admin the tournament. I have to vet all the players and organize the bracket and everything. So I'm going to be working behind the scenes instead. Kuro usually casts our amateur events. Are you climbing the ladder? It's been a couple of days. It's true. I was supposed to ladder yesterday, but I didn't have the time. Technically, I could ladder right now for 2 hours. True. Should I? I don't know if I should. I don't know if that's the best idea. I mean, I'm not casting. True. Tempting. We'll see. But if you want to tune into my personal stream, you should. You're an animal, baby. You're an animal. it's a great idea. Just stream non-stop. Always stream. You're all animals. Yeah, if you want to follow myself, light_VIP on Twitch and Twitter, !light in the chat. I do stream throughout the week. I try to stream more regularly, but I at least stream like maybe twice a week sort of thing whenever I'm not casting, but I'm trying to be more consistent with that. I'm trying. And yeah, with that, thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for tuning in. We're going to be coming back online in 2 hours. For now, we're going to be heading off. You know what? I'll cave to the pressure. I'm going to head off and get some food. I'm going to refill my water. But sure, we'll have a short cheeky ladder session. We'll smooge on the ladder. We'll smooge. See you guys soon. Until then, thanks for watching. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord. All things CranKy Ducklings. If you want VODs are also on our YouTube channel, so do check them out if you wish. Otherwise, see you guys next time. Until then, hasta luego. Ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego.